He has always believed that their love is strong. The marriage is also very sincere. But in the last moments of his life, his wife finally confessed the secret he had kept all his life. It was 1955. In a world divided by apartheid, the United States still clings to the chains of apartheid. The Jim Crow law regulates the walking of blacks, meals, work and rest, even the restriction of the eyes. Interracial relationships aren't just looked down upon. They are even dangerous. If a black man is caught, and a white woman, appearing where it shouldn't be, he could be beaten, imprisoned, or even worse. The South, in particular, strictly enforces these unwritten rules. But even in the North, although there is less violence, it's not a safe haven, either. Oliver Bryant. I have understood these truths since I was a child. He was born in a poor southern town, living a life that seems destined to be inferior. His father was a factory worker. Mother is a tired woman. Spend more time mopping floors in white homes, and not in your own home. Oliver has been repairing cars since he could walk. Fix cars with your uncles. Learn to understand the engine under the weight of labor. How to breathe and moan. At the age of 18, he set up a mechanic in a small car dealership. This is a copy for blacks. One of the few jobs where you can earn a living. Oliver was tall and thin. The skin is as dark as polished mahogany. He has a quiet self-confidence. This self-confidence is unsettling to white men. It also makes white women curious. It's in the world he's in. Is a dangerous combination. But Oliver was never stupid enough to challenge these dangers. He had seen black grown men for a long time, because his gaze was fixed on the white woman, the misfortune that has been encountered for a long time. Until I met Sarah. Sarah has never experienced poverty. Born into a prominent white family. Her childhood, filled with silk skirts and expensive shoes. Life is full of etiquette classes and social activities. These activities, it's all about cultivating her. A perfect Southern wife. Her father, Charles, is an influential figure. Affluence doesn't just come from investment and his right to control others. He believed in the purity of blood, believed that people of the same skin color are superior. But Sarah never found a sense of belonging in my father's world. He grew up under the weight of his father's expectations. Out of breath, he didn't want to be what his father wanted him to be. He should be quiet and obedient, gentle, but he was always curious. I can't settle down, always looking for something beyond the perfect life. He met Oliver when he was 18 years old. It was a hot summer. He put on what was said to be too bold, skirts that are too revealing. The smell of whiskey and cigarettes filled the air. He walked into the dimly lit basement. There was rebellious music in the air. The melodies of jazz are melodious and smooth, with the air of challenging isolation. It was like a soft whisper of rebellion. There is a party. It's where the lack of books blurs racial boundaries. Young people, whether black and white or of other races, it's all secretly gathered here, sharing drinks, laughter and glances that cannot be exchanged during the day. That's when it was. Oliver saw him for the first time. He was completely different from the white women he had seen before. When he looked at him, there was no fear in his eyes. There was no hesitation either. The gesture towards him was firm and natural. His blonde hair fell like a waterfall into his blue eyes. There was a dangerous glow flickering. Curious, excited, provocative of him. Ask him what his name is. He hesitated. He smiled. Oliver found himself talking. The voice is deep and cautious, as if testing the air between them. The two chatted for hours. The topic flowed naturally. He was fascinated by the world he came from. He was fascinated by the way he spoke and the way he thought. And Oliver was bold about him, and his seemingly uncontrolled attitude of being dominated by fear. Alert and curious. It's an intoxicating feeling. It's stupid again. It seems to be predestined. When the night is over, he told him he wanted to see him again. He knew he should leave, but he didn't. For the first time, Sarah's father saw them together. It was an accident. At the time, Oliver was working overtime at the car dealership. Sarah appears on the edge of the garage. The fair skin is illuminated by the street lamp. His heart pounded. Look around. The sound of blood rushing in my ears sounded. He shouldn't be here. It's not safe here. But just when he wanted to take him away, a black car pulled up on the side of the road. Charles Whitmore walked out. It was as if the world had stopped turning. Oliver saw the moment. Recognition flashed in the man's eyes. See the angry twist on his face. Seeing that his body was tense. Only white males were released. to be able to express that kind of anger. Sarah tried to speak, but his father used a cold, eyes that seemed to freeze the summer air. Shut him up, then grabbing his arm mercilessly, dragged him away. Oliver didn't move. He knew better than anyone that he couldn't keep up. The next morning, he found a note under the garage door. It says, "Stay away from my daughter." This is not a warning. It's a threat. At that moment, Oliver realized for the first time. He wasn't afraid to be like Charles. White men like Charles. Instead, I'm afraid that I'm for Sarah. What kind of adventures and sacrifices will be made? The next few weeks were hell. Sarah was forbidden to leave her home. Any of his actions are monitored. Phone calls were also monitored. His father refused to speak to him, as if to admit his existence would defile oneself. His mother didn't say anything, just looked at him with an incomprehensible look. Sarah tried to resist. He argued, he screamed. He begged for mercy, but his father's will was the law. There is no tribunal at all. Will stand in a dare to disobey. The daughter of the father who has had his entire life on this side. However, he found a way out. He quietly slipped a letter into the delivery man's pocket. Agreed on a plan for a late-night meeting. When the world is asleep. He found Oliver again. This time he told him what he already knew. His father would never allow them to be together. But he has already made his choice. Chose him. It was a reckless decision. A risky decision. A white woman eloped with a black man. It's not just a scandal. It's a crime. There is no mercy. There is no understanding. There is no forgiveness. But love never cares about the law. Therefore, in the dead silence of the night, they didn't bring anything. Only the clothes on the body and the fire in the heart. The escape began. They fled from the yoke of his father's rights. Escaping from a world that will never accept them. They moved towards a no security. There is no commitment. There is no safe future to run. There is only hope for a new life together. No one thought of it. The real danger has just begun. The night air is heavy. It seems to carry the weight of their decisions. Sarah's hands trembled. Hold on to the little luggage he had secretly packed. There are only the most basic things in it. A skirt, a few coins, a photo of a mother. He himself didn't know why he brought this photo. Everything he has, home, name, identity, will remain in the past. Oliver stood at the edge of town. Hidden in the shadow of an abandoned train station, awaits him. No luggage. There are no photos either. His life was always light enough to take away. When he saw him, he wanted to run to him, throw herself into his arms, let the fear disappear. But he forced himself to keep his composure. There is no time to be soft. There was no time to hesitate either. They only get one chance. The train to the north will arrive within an hour. It was a freight train. Drive to a factory town in Illinois. There, interracial couples are rare. But it's not illegal. That's their best bet. Sarah took one last look back, half expecting to see the nearby centaurs running towards him. Pull him back. But the streets are still empty. Fear still lingers. Oliver took his hand. Rough surveillance. Are you sure? His voice was low but firm. Sarah swallowed. Nodding, they boarded the train, hidden between the goods and the grain bags. No one noticed them leaving. No one knows where they are going. At that moment, Sarah felt free for the first time. The journey was long and difficult. They march in darkness. The body is squatting in a confined space for a long time. And stiff, the sound of the wheels of the train. Sarah's bones trembled. Every thud reminded him. There is no turning back. Oliver barely spoke. He's always listening, always observing. Every time the train stops, he would tense up nervously, waiting for the sound of approaching steps. Wait for the doors to open. A man with a gun was seen rushing in. Tear them to shreds. But no one came. The next night, they finally arrived in Illinois. That factory town. It's a far cry from the elegant streets of Sarah. The air was filled with smoke and dust. The streets are lined with buildings covered in soot. The workers were exhausted. Hard work. But here, they are just ordinary couples. No one is right for a white woman. Stand next to a black man and take a second look. This is not acceptance. Rather, indifference. And indifference is enough. They found a cramped boarding house. The walls are thin. Privacy is almost non-existent. Their room was only big enough for a narrow bed. Barely enough room for two people. But that's theirs. Oliver got a job at a local steel mill. Worked 12 hours a day. In suffocating heat. Sarah started working as a female worker. Fingers blistered from long sewing sessions. Life is hard. Extremely heavy. Completely different from the world he was once familiar with. But he never complained. Because this time, he chose this life. The wedding took place in a chapel outside the town. There were no guests there. There are no flowers. There is no music. There were just two of them and a priest. The pastor recites the vow. While looking at them, there is no ring. There was no celebration. There is only a quiet exchange of promises. A whispered oath. Just for each other. But in each other's hearts. When the ceremony is over, Sarah stood outside the church. Look up at the sky. Feel the heaviness of that moment. It was as if the whole world was oppressing her. She is no longer Sarah Charles, the girl with the privilege. She became Sarah Bryant, the wife of a black man, and one can never fully embrace their world. However, he felt more relaxed than ever. The first year after marriage. It's a test. Factories, small towns are safer than in the South. But that doesn't mean it's friendly. Oliver's colleagues kept their distance. I don't know what to think. This man who married a white wife. The women of the town looked at Silly with bewildered eyes. I don't know if he's confused, or just stupid. They are tolerated. But it was never really welcomed. Money is always tight. Some nights they go to bed hungry. Sarah learned to mend clothes. Sew them into more threads than fabric. Oliver learned how to get the most out of every penny. Haggle in the market. Buy some leftovers. Work overtime until you are exhausted. But they persevered. Because love has brought them here. However, love does not eliminate fear. Sarah's father never forgot him. Letters were sent to the boarding house one by one. Each letter was more cold than the last. The first one was to ask him to go home. The second is a warning that you don't understand what you've done. The third one is a threat that you will regret it. Sarah burned all the letters. But the fear lingers. His father was not a man who accepted failure easily. Someday he will find him. And he doesn't know what he's going to do when he finds him. Fear crept into his dreams, whispering in his heart. Whenever he walks through the market, the man in the suit was seen staring at him for a long time. Or hear footsteps coming from behind at night. He couldn't help but think. Could it be that the people in the neighborhood have finally found him? Therefore, he began to save money quietly. At first, it was just a few coins hidden under the bed. Then there are a few banknotes hidden in the skirt. He told himself it was nothing. It's just prevention. It's a habit formed out of fear. And not suspicion. But deep down, he knows the truth. He chose Oliver. But his heart is still afraid of the total. One day, he will have to leave him. The years passed. Life in the factory town gradually stabilized. Life has never been easy. Never really comfortable either. Oliver worked hard. Every night with sore muscles. And soot-covered hands go home. Sarah sews clothes. Until fingers blister. Her once delicate hands. Now it's full of cocoons. The two built a life together. One step at a time. Then the first child came. Sarah has never felt as scared as she did then. She looked forward to joy. Imagine that moment. She placed the newborn in Oliver's arms. Feel the warmth of the family's gradual growth. But when he saw the little boy wrapped in a blanket, he felt something completely different. Guilty, because when he looked at his son, he couldn't help but think. The child he once abandoned. She was 17 years old at the time. Or a completely different girl. Live a completely different life. Her family hid the pregnancy. Tell friends and relatives that she is sick. Breaks are needed. He was never given the right to choose. When that child is born, same as this kid. It's a boy. He barely had a chance to hold him. He was forced to give him to someone else. His father arranged everything. Secretly adopted. Quietly paid a fee. Make sure there aren't any records. Whitmore's name will not be left behind. Sarah cried for weeks. But over time, he learned to suppress the pain. He told himself, it's all for the good of the kids. This child will have a better life. Won't be dragged down by scandals. Then he met Oliver. And buried that past in a new life. Behind a new love. But now Sarah, who is holding on to her heart. The past comes back to mind. He knew he still had. A child is outside. A son who never had the chance to know him. He never told Oliver. Because he can't say it. The weight of this secret crept down in his heart. It turned into a silent guilt. A feeling that never completely goes away. Their son, Isaac, grew up fast. His skin is a perfect blend of his parents' colors. His eyes were as sharp as his father's. The smile is as gentle as a mother's. He is a living testimony of their love. But Sarah still couldn't shake a sense of absence. He dreamed of the child he had sent away, wondering if he's like Isaac, whether there is a nose or not. Had Oliver's determined eyes. He wanted to know, did he ever think about that mother he had never met? But he never spoke. It's about pressing everything deeper. Focus on Isaac. Focus on Oliver. Focus on their lives. However, the shadow of the past always quietly returns. Even if you try to stay away from it. Time flies. Another child came. Margaret. He was born with a wild nature. Loud and fearless. Laughter filled their tiny boarding house. He didn't have the weakness of a mother. Nor did he have the stillness of a father. He is a force in his own right. Hidden in a small body. Sarah dotes on him. But as the years passed, that secret became even heavier. He imagined that the boy was now a young man. Maybe live in an unfamiliar city. Maybe live in a house like theirs. Maybe I'm thinking about who I really am. He prayed that he was doing well. Pray that he never feels abandoned. And pray that Oliver will never know. But secret. There's always a way to make everything poisonous. Sarah became quieter and quieter, becoming more and more distant. Oliver didn't think much at first. He thought it was just exhaustion. After all, parenting is hard. Their lives are not easy, either. But then he began to notice. He often looked into the distance. It seems to be caught in a deep state of thought. He was answering a question about his past. There will always be hesitation. Whenever adoption is mentioned, he would even shake involuntarily, even if it's just a casual reminder. Oliver isn't the kind of person who would force it. He understands silence. I also know that some wounds are too deep. It should not be touched. But this time is different. This time it was his wife. He was creeping away from him. One night, the children were already asleep. Oliver discovered. He sat at the small wooden table in the kitchen, eyes fixed on a rag on his lap. He didn't notice him. And in that moment, Oliver felt it for the first time. There is a terrible distance between the two. He had many things that he didn't tell him, and these things he would never tell him. Oliver began to doubt whether he really knows his wife or not. Sarah always knew. Marriage is not what it is portrayed in books or movies. It's fairy tale-like beauty. He knew it from a young age. Love and survival are often two different things. But he never expected it. He will live in a marriage that takes care of both. Oliver is a good husband. He is steady, patient, and reliable. Work hard. Provide a life for him and his children. 12 hours of work in a steel plant. I have never complained about a lifetime of exhaustion. He loved her, and he had no doubts about it. But he carries with him a love more than anything else. All heavier secrets. Because when she married him, he didn't do it out of love. It's out of fear. He knew it from a young age. His father would choose a husband for him. That's the tradition of a family like his. On the wealth of the South. Family lineage dating back to colonial times. Women, you can't choose. They were chosen. Her father spent many years selecting for her. Husband put banker. Lawyer. The sons of the merchant family lined up like a racehorse. Look at their family history. Wealth and that proper sense of superiority. She cooperated. She smiled and nodded. Let them hold her hand. Take her through the halls of the ball. He did everything that was expected. Until I met Oliver. Until he saw something different. A man who does not belong in his world. A man who makes him question all his ideas. He rushed at him. Not because of love. It's because of fear. If you don't, what will become of his life? This realization made him feel sick. Because years later, he did fall in love with her. He loved her. Kissed the tenderness of her forehead every morning before going out. Love her every night in the shake. The low voice of your child as he falls asleep. It's like the earth is roaring in a low voice. He loved her and never yelled loudly even when he was angry. Love her in a way that makes her feel safe. However, he never told her the truth. She didn't marry him out of a heartfelt choice. Rather, it is a choice for survival. He told himself, none of that matters. Love has come with time. And love has long since made it all irrelevant. As long as they come so far. That's enough. But then came those whispers. Not from Oliver. It's from the world around you. Some women from the market. Still looking at him with that look. It was as if he had lost his mind. From the streets. The men who saw Oliver pass by. With an intimate expression. Questions from children. He didn't know how to answer. Mom, why do people look at Dad's eyes? As if he didn't belong here. Mom, why do other children say I'm different? Mom, why? Grandfather? Never came to see us. He didn't have an answer. Because the truth is so ugly. The truth is, it took him so many years to work hard. Forget where you came from. But it never stopped. Pondered. Their own children live between two worlds. What it means. The worst part. He never told Oliver. In those hardest first months. When he was exhausted and full of fear, he had thought about leaving. He had looked at the money he had hidden, counted over and over again in the silence of the night, thinking about what to do if you leave with the kids, whether it is enough for them to live a new life. He never intended to do that, but he had thought about it, and that's something that has always bothered him. Oliver is not a fool. He saw that he was avoiding certain questions. I saw the hesitation of every time he mentioned the past tense. Also noticed whenever children talk about a sense of racial belonging, or the things that make them unique, he would always become silent. He couldn't help but start to wonder. It's not just about his secrets. Does he love him at all? It's because he's his choice. Or is it because he is his only escape? It was a question he was afraid to ask, because he's not sure. Do you really want to know the answer? Sarah kept telling herself. The past is gone. He has built a new life. A home with children and a family. Although austere. But it's safe. The outside world is still suspicious of them. But in their homes, they found something almost calm. But calm is fragile. The past is always when you least expect it. Quietly come back to you. The first letter was delivered on an ordinary afternoon. Sarah when she went shopping. The letter was quietly tucked under the crack of the door. Lie on the wooden floor. It's like a ghost floating from another life. He stared at the envelope for a long time. I slowly picked up the envelope. There was no reply. The address is only in his name. He belonged to his father. His stomach cramped. He tore open the envelope. The words inside are short and cold. You don't understand what you've done. He felt sick. It had been years since I heard from him. Ever since he ran away from home. He had written to him asking him to go back. Later, he threatened him. And then there was no news. He thought he had given up. But he was wrong. He waited a few weeks, waiting for another letter. But nevertheless, he tried his best to forget. But the heaviness felt like a stone. Press on his chest. What does the letter mean? Just to continue to control him. Or something worse. He told himself not to worry. But then he saw the man. It was early evening. He took the children to the market. Let them chase and play between the stalls. And he was haggling with the stall owner. Buy potatoes and fresh milk. Then he saw him. A white man in a suit stands on a street corner. He didn't buy anything. Didn't talk to anyone either. Just staring at him. He felt a chill. He told himself that he was overthinking. But the next day, he saw it again. Every day he followed. They all stood there far away. Keep an eye on him. He didn't tell Oliver. He knew what he was talking about. You read it wrong. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. Or worse, if it's really your father. We should face him. But he didn't want to face him. He only wished he could stay in the past. Stay where he's supposed to be. Then, the second letter came. Not his father's this time. Rather, he simply did not expect to hear the letter of the person. I know who you are. His heart stopped. He read it again. The handwriting was unfamiliar. The content is blurry. But he knew that someone knew about his former child. That's what he abandoned years ago. Son, a secret he buried so deep that he almost forgot. Now someone finally knows. He felt his world begin to crumble. He was silent for several days. Barely eat or sleep. Oliver sensed him. Asked him what's wrong. He said it was fine. But he knew he was hiding. Until he found the letter that had been tucked into the bottom of the closet. See the change in his eyes. That's one of a kind. Realize that you don't understand your wife's eyes. Maybe all these years have passed. He didn't know him at all. Sarah always knew. The past will catch up with him one day. It took him years to convince himself. My current life. It is separate from the life it used to be. The one who had been Charles's favorite daughter. It was because I was afraid. And the girl who didn't dare to fight for her first child. That one is in despair. The young bride who ran into Oliver's arms. Long gone. But the truth is, this woman has always been hidden in his heart. Hidden in the corner of his mind. Waiting for the day when he will be forced to face everything he buried. And now, with his body betraying him, the weight of time weighed on his bones. He knew that the moment had come. The condition began slowly. Cough, dizziness. At first, he didn't care. But the pain began. Bouts of sharp, persistent chest pain. It almost took him breathless. Even the simplest movements become unbearable. Oliver was the first to notice. He saw him struggling with the latte. Seeing him frown when others couldn't see him. Pain. At first he didn't say anything. But one day, when he fell to the ground while folding clothes, he knew they couldn't ignore it any longer. The next day, the doctor came. He was a middle-aged white man. The face is expressionless. He pressed Sarah's pulse. Listen carefully. The doctor asked him some questions. After listening to his answer, frowning slightly, but there was no opening. When he spoke, his voice was calm and uneasy to him. It's so calm. The calm is familiar. Gentle conveys bad news. Pretend to care. But nothing can be done. He's going to die. It was his heart that was failing. There is no treatment. Oliver stood silent, clasped Sarah tightly with both hands. I closed my eyes. He had expected to hear the news of fear, but all he felt was exhaustion. He's run away with so many things. So many years. Maybe it's time to stop and face it. Oliver refuses to accept reality. He spent several days looking for other doctors. Look for other answers. Look for other hopes. But the answer is always the same. His time was running out. He knew he couldn't leave this world before. Don't tell the truth. He kept it a secret all his life. It's time to let those secrets out. One evening, the sun is slowly setting. He asked Oliver to sit next to him. He hesitated at first. Hear the difference in his voice. A sense of the end. It was not his death that he feared. It's something he's going to say right away. He told him everything. About the money he hid. About the early days of his marriage. He was once suspected. Doubt about living their lives. He was afraid that one day he would need to escape. He told him about his first child, the son he abandoned, and the kind of life he lived. He also told him about his father. Even after death, he was still haunting him. He never really got rid of him. In the end, he told him the most brutal truth. He didn't marry him because he loved her. It's because he's afraid. For he was his. Running away was not his choice. Oliver remained silent. He couldn't make out the expression on his face. Didn't know he was angry, pain, or not feeling anything at all. He felt tears run down his cheeks. He felt the guilt of a lifetime weighing him down. Then, he told him the only truth he knew. Despite the fact that everything is full of lies, secrets, mistakes. But he really loved her. Deeper, deeper than he himself imagined. He loved him, and he hoped that in the end it would be enough. The days that followed became blurry. Oliver barely spoke. He took care of him. Hold him when he is in excruciating pain. Wipe his forehead when he has a fever. When his legs can't hold up. He carried him to bed. But he didn't tell him how he felt. He didn't ask either. Because he doesn't need to know. Because in the end it doesn't matter. He's still there for him. That's enough. One night, when the cold seeped into the house, his body could no longer bear it. He felt Oliver's arms around him. He whispered. He barely heard. Just the last moment he closed his eyes. He smiled. Because he knows. At that moment, he has forgiven him. Or rather, maybe he didn't forgive him. Probably it doesn't matter at all. Maybe love isn't about perfection. Maybe love is just even if it hurts. The past cannot be changed. Even if you can only say goodbye in the end. Still choose to stay. Unusually quiet in the house. That silence seeped into the walls. Into between breaths. Accompanied by one who could no longer get up. The weight of the body. Sarah is gone. Oliver, sitting in the silence of their bedroom. Staring at the empty bed. Staring at the pillow that still had the outline of his head. He didn't touch the pillow for a few days. It seems that he can deceive himself without moving. He's still here, but there's no escaping the truth. He's no longer there. He left. Left behind the secrets of his life. His confession broke something inside him. It's not because he lied. It's because of him. Never really doubted. Even if they have been together for so many years. So much time to share. He had believed. He had believed. Their love has always been genuine. It's built on trust, rather than dependencies. Now, he doesn't know what to believe. Is their life a lie? Did he ever really choose him? Or was he always just his escape? A kind of refuge. A way to escape from a life he doesn't want. He spent his life trying to prove that he was a man. In this world, he was told that he was not enough. And now, even in the place he once called home, even in the arms of the woman he loved dearly, he also began to be suspicious. Whether you ever really belonged there. The letters are still there. His father's letter was yellowed by the years. Hidden in his original drawer. Danger, warning. And the last one. The letter that destroyed him in the last weeks of his life. I know who you are. Different handwriting. Different fears. He never told him what the letter meant. But now he had to know. He opened the drawer. With trembling fingers, he pulled out the pile of old papers. Unfolded one by one. The last letter was cut short. There's only one sentence. Your son is looking for you. Oliver was stunned. The room seemed to be tilted. He read the words again. I held my breath in my throat. Their son is not Isaac. nor Margaret. It's the one he's abandoned. He never knew there was a child. His hand gripped the paper tightly. Another child, a son he never told him, was looking for answers. And now he's gone. All that's left is unanswerable questions. Oliver clenched his fists, staring at the faded ink. How could he stand it? How could he sit at the table every night, knowing that he has another child here, in the world? How could he watch their children grow up? The child's name was never mentioned. Is he going to take this secret to the grave? He had confessed a lot of things before he died. About the money, about the doubts. About him, it was not because of love that he married him. At least not at first. But this, he kept it. Now, Oliver has to face it alone. Isaac and Margaret did not understand. They are also grieving, but their pain is different. For them, Sarah is a steady and constant mother, is the center of their world. And for Olive, she is not only a mother, she is also his partner. His home was the woman he fought for. He is the person he trusts the most. Now he's not sure what's real. If love starts with a lie, can he still be love? He didn't know. I'm not sure if I'm wondering. The days passed. Oliver was busy with work. Because it was at least the only thing that made him feel meaningful. Steel mills don't care about sadness. He didn't care that his wife was no longer alive. Doesn't care that his world has collapsed under his feet. He only asks him to do the same every day. Sweat, strength, time. These are at least simple. But everything else is not simple. Especially when he walks through the market. Feel the heaviness of the stranger's gaze. Their silent questioning hung in the air. When he lies in bed at night, habitually reach out to him. But he only touched the cold, empty seat. And when he opened the drawer, see that letter, waiting for him, provoking the truth that he is not ready to face. One night, after the kids have fallen asleep, he took out the letter again and reopened it. There was no name on the letter. There is no address. There is only one brutal truth. There is a son who is out looking for answers. And Oliver is the only one. One person who can give the answer. He has been battling this fact for weeks. What's the point of going to this kid now? He's on this. Strangers who never appear in their lives. What is owed? But then, another thought came to mind. What if that's Isaac? If someone takes his son away from him, erase him, let him be a secret. Wouldn't he want to know the truth? Isn't he worth knowing? So, one early morning, the sun hasn't quite risen yet. Oliver left home, holding the letter tightly in his hand. He walked to the post office. For the first time, a decision was made. He's going to find the kid, give him the truth that has been taken away, even if it is painful, even if it changes everything. Because too much has been taken in the past. Oliver wasn't going to let him take anything again. If you like the story, don't forget to subscribe to share this video with your friends. And tell us what you think. If you still want to see more engaging stories, check out our other videos. Until next time.